There is no get-rich-quick scheme on YouTube. I'm the Chris who plays games. This is your CPG rant of the evening. Every time I turn around, there's someone else looking for the one trick, the one way in order to succeed and make beautiful content on YouTube and get all the views and subs and money and everything else like that. And there is no get-rich-quick scheme. Now, there are many approaches that people can say, hey, this worked. Hey, look, this guy went from 0 subs to 1 million subs in 2 months. Hey, this guy did that. This guy did this. This girl did that. This man did this. This woman did this. We can do all those things, but the reality is that there is no magic trick. The reality is that in order to build a successful long-term business around YouTube, you have to make interesting content on a regular schedule and get an audience that loves it and get them to come back. If you want to make money on YouTube, you've got to find a way to monetize that content, get it out to your users, and have them love it and continue to do that. Because I can tell you that the million-degree hot knife, while it was certainly an interesting and exciting fad, while I can tell you that the 24 hours of spinning a fidget spinner, and while I can tell you that Zoie Burgher are all people who have gone out and been able to quickly produce a significant amount of cash in YouTube land, it's not a scheme. Because all of those cases, all of those trends, all of those everything else like that are things that people found and stumbled into in part by accident. As much as Zoie Burgher will claim now that everything that she has done was absolutely planned, I don't think that there's any way that she could have predicted exactly how popular that she would have been so quickly. Or how quickly she would fall back off in popularity once she was past her fad age. Now, fad ages on YouTube, in my opinion, are about 2 to 2.5 months. What happens is that you have an initial wave of the fad where one person gets to profit. Whether it's Mr. Gere or Zoie Burgher or that guy who did the 24-hour fidget spinner stream, all of those people were able to be the one person who got out there in front and were able to take advantage of something. You didn't have wave 2 of popularity of tricks and everything else like that. In wave 2, you have popular YouTubers who watch for site-wide trends in order to take advantage of them and are able to quickly make response videos or integrate those trends into their content. So, for example, Andrew Huang, one of the music creators who I love, has done, music with a drone, music with a fidget spinner, music with a, music with 1,000-degree hot knives or whatever else like that. He can do that because his content is about creating music with unusual things, so he can quickly turn around a video that matches whatever the trend of the day is. In wave 3, you have the copycats. Now, wave 3 is typically around the time that everyone else figures out that something is going on. They've seen 7 of the big YouTubers that they follow do something in the past couple days, and they think, oh, they're all making videos that are getting hundreds of thousands of views on this, and look, this guy's getting 10 million views on this. Clearly, I should go out and make a video that matches it, and then I will get money too. The problem is that as an average/typical YouTuber, most of the time, you find these trends out too late. You find these trends out after they've already been trends for a while. They have to go through this phase, so you have to, if you want to pick up on a site-wide trend, you have to be quick. Because once the copycats come in, the audience who is consuming that content is so diverse and diluted that there's almost no chance that you are going to get a significant number of views. And even the creators, the massive number, or the creators who have large numbers of subscribers who are taking advantage of site-wide trends, typically aren't getting a huge boost from these. They may get a 20% bump or a 10% bump over their usual, but the reason that they look like they're being successful with these videos is because their videos are successful anyway. There is no magic trick to creating content on YouTube, and yes, you can stumble into trends. Absolutely, it happens. People do it all the time. But it is very difficult to take advantage of that trend unless you are the one who's leading it, and I fully believe that most of the time people are stumbling into these. And for every person who stumbles into one of these trends, there are probably 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 who have done almost exactly the same thing and not found success. Again, survival bias comes back into play with these trend-based things. Just because someone's doing it doesn't mean that 1 million people haven't done it before. Now, if you do become the one person on the lead, milk it for all it's fucking worth. Because it's worth it. It's worth it to go out there and take advantage of a trend. It's worth it to go out there and do this in the short-term trend that you've got. When Mr. Gere went ahead and did his thing, I think he got something along the lines of, 500 million views. Which is a lot of money, assuming he monetized all that content effectively. And there's absolutely no reason to not go out and do that. But you can't be the next Mr. Gere. You can't be the next fidget spinner guy. So if what you want to do is actually succeed, what you need to do is find content that people want that isn't being made and make it. YouTube is a search engine and combined with a supply and demand curve. The reality is that what you need to do is go and find interesting content that someone hasn't made yet. When I look at the Primitive Technology channel that has 4.5 million subscribers gained over the past 2 years, that is a channel which is creating content that really no one else is making. There's no speech, there's no words, there's just putting things together, starting from a pile of mud and building a primitive lifestyle. That's not a trend. That's not anything else like that. But he's also made 300 million views over the past 2 years and gets $5,000 in Patreon support for every one of his videos. There is no one-step success to succeeding on YouTube. There is no set of magical tags. There's no number of tags or length of video. There is no game that you can play or anything else that you can do that will magically get you there. It's a very simple equation. You need to provide a resource which is in demand, which has low supply, and you need to find the audience that wants it and do something with it. And the reality is that people are always like, well, this other person did it this way, or this other person did this thing. Okay, but there's a million different people who are trying things all the time. And the fact that you've picked the 10 that succeeded and think that it's going to work for you, there were another 100 who did it the same way. It comes back to those trends. Do I think that the hydraulic press guy channel was the first channel to do hydraulic press videos? No, probably not. Do I think Andrew Huang was the first person to make a music video using tires as a beat source? No, probably not. Do I think I was the first person to publish a video where a hawk attacked a drone? No, I know I wasn't. Although mine, I think, is actually better than any of the other ones out there. But the reality is that that video came at a time when that trend was hot, where anti-technology perspectives were in the vogue, where anti-drone perspectives were in the vogue. And so I was just in the right place at the right time. And got lucky. And people have told me all the time, like, hey, why don't you go out and fake another animal attack with your drone, and then you'll get 5 million more views and more money and everything else like that. And the reality is that you can't do that. Because the genuineness of that moment would go away. The call to the subscriber's heart or viewer's heart, where they would be willing to share that, would go away if suddenly it was the same guy who did it last time. How do I know? A week after Hawk vs. Drone, I took my drone back to the same park and I flew it. I was just flying underneath the trees, low, nothing else like that. And all of a sudden, a hawk comes flying at my drone. Now, I was only 4 feet off the ground, and the hawk just kind of flew and flapped at it and then flew away, right? So it's not at all as dramatic as Hawk vs. Drone in the sky or anything else like that. But in total, that video got 25,000 views. Some of the comments on there are, you're just milking this for the money. The genuineness of the moment was gone. Now, I think that if it waited 2 years to upload that video, it's possible I would have gotten a little bit more than 25,000 views, although the reality is that it was never as dramatic as Hawk vs. Drone. It was never anything else like that. But the reality is that trying to take these trends and use them to create your own, it won't work. There is no one step. There is no magic. There is no magic trick to being successful on YouTube. There is no way to figure out how to be the next trend other than to do things all the time. When a hawk attacked my drone, I had been recording various footage for approximately 1 hour a day for more than 6 months before I got something that anyone was interested in watching. So what's the trick to being successful on YouTube? Keep making content. Make content that people want. Make content that isn't already out there. Make content that people will consume and share with their friends and talk about. Make content that no one else is making. That's the trick to being successful on YouTube. I'm the Chris who plays games. Make great content.